What if the constant anxiety about what others think is a cage you built yourself, and the key to unlocking it has been in your pocket all along for over 2,000 years? Welcome back to Take and Grow, your daily source for self-improvement, motivation, and unlocking your full potential.
Dr. Vance, that image of a self-built cage is powerful and incredibly relatable. That low-level hum of anxiety, what will they think? Did I say the right thing? Do they approve? It governs so much of our lives, often unconsciously. The idea that there's an ancient key sounds like exactly what our listeners need.
It truly is a near universal struggle, Sophia. We're social creatures, wired for connection and belonging. But somewhere along the line, that desire for connection often morphs into a crippling dependency on external validation. We outsource our self-worth to the opinions of others, colleagues, friends, family, even strangers on the internet. And that, as you said, becomes an invisible cage, limiting our actions, silencing our true voice, and stealing our peace.
It's exhausting. You find yourself constantly performing, filtering, second-guessing. It feels like you can never truly relax or be authentic. So, what is this ancient key you mentioned?
The key lies in the practical wisdom of Stoicism. The ancient Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, weren't detached academics. They were emperors, slaves, playwrights, dealing with the real pressures of life just like us. And they developed a robust psychological toolkit specifically designed to cultivate inner resilience and freedom from external disturbances, especially the opinions of others. They mastered what we might call the Stoic art of not caring what people think.
The Stoic art. I like that. It implies it's a skill, something we can learn and practice, not just an innate personality trait some lucky people have.
Precisely. It's an art, a discipline. It's not about becoming cold or indifferent to people, but about becoming indifferent to opinions that are ultimately outside our control and irrelevant to our inner well-being. It's about shifting our focus from the chaotic, unpredictable world of external validation to the stable, controllable realm of our own character and actions. This aligns perfectly with Take and Grow's mission, mastering your mindset to build confidence and take aligned action.
Okay, Dr. Vance, I'm ready for the first lesson in this Stoic art. Where do we begin? How do we start loosening the bars of this cage?
We begin with the absolute foundation of Stoic practice, something Epictetus hammered home constantly, the dichotomy of control. This is the understanding that some things in life are within our control and some things are not.
That sounds simple enough, almost common sense.
It sounds simple, but truly internalizing and living by it is revolutionary. Most of our suffering, especially the anxiety about others' opinions, comes from confusing these two categories, from desperately trying to control things that are fundamentally uncontrollable.
So, what is within our control, according to the Stoics?
Primarily our own thoughts, judgments, values, decisions, and actions, our inner world, our responses to external events, our character.
And what's outside our control?
Almost everything else. External events, the past, the future to a large extent. Our bodies, health, aging, our possessions, they can be lost, our reputation, and crucially for today's topic, what other people think of us.
That's the big one. So, someone's opinion of me, whether they like my work, approve of my choices, find me attractive, think I'm smart, all of that falls squarely into the outside my control category.
Absolutely. Think about it. Can you force someone to like you? Can you dictate their thoughts? Their opinions are shaped by their own experiences, biases, moods, values, insecurities, a complex internal world you have virtually no control over. Trying to manage everyone's opinion of you is like trying to control the weather. It's an exhausting, impossible task.
That's a powerful visual, trying to control the weather. Yet we spend so much energy doing exactly that, especially with social media. Curating the perfect image, agonizing over likes, devastated by negative comments.
Precisely. The Stoic approach isn't to ignore these things exist, but to categorize them correctly. Recognize that the comment, the judgment, the opinion is an external event, outside your control. What is within your control is how you judge that event, how you respond to it. Do you let it define your worth? Do you let it ruin your day? Or do you recognize it as external noise and return your focus to your own actions and values?
So the art begins with drawing that clear line. This is mine to manage, my thoughts, actions, and that is theirs, their opinions. And I will focus my energy only on what is mine.
That is the essential first step. It requires constant vigilance because our default programming is to get entangled in the uncontrollable. But every time you consciously make that distinction, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. This is fundamental for improving focus and building resilience.
Okay, understanding the dichotomy of control is huge, but knowing intellectually that someone's opinion is outside my control doesn't always stop it from stinging. What practical tools did the Stoics use to actually build that indifference, that inner resilience?
Excellent question. The Stoics were eminently practical. They offered several techniques. Develop an internal scorecard. Focus on virtue. This is perhaps the most crucial. Instead of measuring your worth by external validation, likes, praise, status, focus on your own character and actions. Are you living according to your values? Are you acting with courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom, the core Stoic virtues? Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself in his meditations to focus on his own duties and principles, regardless of what others were doing or saying. Your self-respect should come from your adherence to your own standards, not from external applause.
So it's about defining your own values and measuring yourself against those, rather than letting the crowd dictate your worth. How do you start building that internal scorecard?
It starts with reflection. What principles truly matter to you? Honesty, kindness, diligence, courage. Write them down. Then, at the end of each day, briefly review your actions. Did you live up to your standards? Not perfectly, perhaps, but did you try? This shifts your focus inward, making external opinions less relevant. Negative visualization. Premeditation malorum. The Stoics practice contemplating potential future misfortunes, including social disapproval or criticism. By mentally preparing for the possibility of being disliked, judged, or misunderstood, the actual event loses its sting. You've already considered it, accepted it as a possibility, and decided it won't break you.
So instead of fearing criticism, you anticipate it, almost rehearse your calm response to it.
Exactly. It robs the event of its shock value and allows you to respond rationally rather than react emotionally. You think, okay, someone might disagree strongly with this decision. They might criticize me publicly. How will I handle that with virtue? I will remain calm, state my reasoning if necessary, and focus on my principles. Consider the source and perspective. When faced with criticism or disapproval, ask yourself, who is this opinion coming from? Is this person wise, virtuous? Do their opinions generally hold weight based on their character and judgment? Often, the harshest critics have their own issues or biases. Furthermore, zoom out. Consider the vastness of time and space. As Marcus Aurelius often did, reflect on how small and temporary these social dramas are in the grand scheme of the universe. Will this opinion matter in a year, a decade, after you're gone? This cosmic perspective shrinks the perceived importance of fleeting opinions.
That really puts things in perspective, shifting from what will they think to does their thinking align with virtue, or does this matter cosmically?
It reframes the entire situation. It detaches your ego from the opinion. View opinions as external noise. Ultimately, the Stoics aim to view baseless opinions simply as neutral external events, like the weather or the barking of the dog. It's just noise.
It doesn't have inherent meaning or power unless you grant it that power through your judgment. You can choose to listen, evaluate if there is anything useful, more on that later, and discard the rest without emotional attachment.
Just noise. That requires incredible discipline, but I can see how liberating it would be.
It is the ultimate goal, achieving that inner citadel, as the Stoics called it, that cannot be breached by external chaos, including the opinions of others. These tools are the building blocks.
Dr. Vance, this is all incredibly empowering, but I can hear some listeners thinking, if I stop caring what anyone thinks, won't I become arrogant or socially inept or just plain rude? Don't we need feedback to grow?
That is a critical distinction, Sophia, and a common misunderstanding of Stoicism. The art of not caring is not about ignoring all feedback. Stoics value wisdom and self-improvement. Constructive feedback, offered thoughtfully by someone credible and aimed at helping you improve according to virtue, is valuable data. The key is discernment, filtering feedback through reason and your own values, not blindly accepting praise or internalizing destructive criticism. Being antisocial or cruel. Stoicism emphasizes our social nature and duties to others, cosmopolitanism. Not caring about opinions doesn't mean treating people poorly. It means your actions towards others should be guided by justice, kindness, and reason, not by a desperate need for their approval or fear of their disapproval. You act rightly because it is right, not because it will make you popular. Becoming emotionally numb. Stoics experience emotions. The goal isn't to eliminate feelings, but to not be ruled by irrational or destructive ones, particularly those triggered by external opinions. It's about maintaining emotional equilibrium.
So it's about indifference to baseless or uncontrollable opinions, not indifference to feedback, social harmony, or our own emotional lives.
Precisely. It's about selective valuation. You value your own reasoned judgment and virtuous action above all else. You might consider external opinions as potentially useful information, but you don't grant them the power to define your self-worth or dictate your emotional state. You filter them through reason. Is this helpful? Is it true? Is it relevant to my living virtuously? If not, it's noise. Let it pass.
That distinction is crucial. It's not about building walls, but about building a strong inner foundation so external storms don't knock you over.
Exactly. You remain open to learning and connection, but you are anchored within yourself. Ultimately, Sophia, mastering the Stoic art of not caring what people think is about reclaiming your freedom. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from the exhausting performance of seeking validation, freedom to act authentically according to your own principles, freedom to pursue your goals without being derailed by criticism or inflated by praise.
That sounds like true inner peace, a quiet confidence that doesn't need external applause.
That is precisely the goal. It's a lifelong practice, an art form, as we said. You won't master it overnight, but every time you consciously choose to focus on your own actions instead of others' opinions, every time you pause before reacting to criticism, every time you measure yourself by your internal scorecard, that inner citadel grows stronger.
So, for our Take and Grow listeners ready to start practicing this art, what's one simple first step they can take today?
A simple but powerful exercise. The next time you feel a pang of anxiety about someone's perceived judgment, maybe after posting something online, making a decision at work, or even just choosing an outfit, pause. Take one deep breath. Ask yourself, Is their opinion within my control? Acknowledge the answer is no. Then gently redirect your focus. What is within my control right now? Maybe it's focusing on your next task, reaffirming your values, or simply choosing not to dwell on it. That small act of pausing and redirecting is the beginning of reclaiming your power.
Pause, identify control, redirect focus. That's tangible.
It is, and it's the start of unlocking that cage.
Dr. Vance, this has been an incredibly insightful look at how ancient wisdom can provide profound solutions to modern anxieties.
The pleasure was mine, Sophia. Remember, the key is already in your pocket.
If this episode gave you a tool to find more freedom and inner peace, please hit that like button.
And if you're committed to building confidence, mastering your mindset, and developing success habits grounded in timeless wisdom, subscribe to Take and Grow. Share this video with anyone trapped in the cage of others' opinions.
What's one situation where you plan to practice the pause and redirect technique this week? Share your commitment in the comments below.
Thanks for tuning in to Take and Grow. We'll see you in the next episode.